Hello, 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 and welcome to What That Means Is. This is episode 7 of series 2. We're happy that you joined us today. I'm back with Ken Drysdale and Chris Riddell. And today, hi, today we wanted to just discuss, because we're a little curious, as you know we are, and that's why our webcast is called What That Means Is. We like to kind of look at things and kind of download information. We like to go to various places for stats and statistics and dissect them, consider them, offer them to you, give us a little bit of our opinion. But we really want to, it's basically fact-based. We really don't want to conjecture too much. So we had some curiosity about the person who is in charge of our health, per se, here in Canada. THERESA TAM, who is the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada. Kind of curious. Who is she? Where's she from? Where did she come from? We do know that she is unelected. She gave a lot of advice as to what happened in the last 3 years, the choices that were made, basically how you got to live your life or not in these last 3 years. So we kind of want to know what gives. We're not here to bash anybody, but you know what? We remind you and ourselves, these people answer to us because we pay their income. We pay their salary. They work for us. They're there on the premise that they're making decisions on our behalf. So we get to ask these questions.
Absolutely. And this is a person who came into every one of your houses in the last 2.5 years, had you locked down, recommended that you couldn't see grandma, wouldn't let you go out and communicate with people. You couldn't go to church. So we have a right to know.
Put masks on your kids.
Put masks on your kids. We have a right to know who this is. You know, I was talking to Chris the other day, and I'm holding up here, it's a copy of my resume. I'm not afraid to show it. Here's my resume. It gives dates of where I worked, where I was educated, everything else, all the degrees. You can go up to the universities and check out my credentials. And here it is. And Chris, did you ever get a job when you were with the City of Winnipeg Police? Did you have to have a resume?
Yeah, we did have to have a resume, and a couple jobs after that needed a resume. Yeah.
So we asked the question, and this is my private thing. I mean, I'm not working for the government. We just want to make sure you know that, if you don't know that already. So nobody here is working for the government. But you know my resume. You can go out and find out. And I'm not a public figure. I'm just an ordinary person, and you can go out and on the internet, you can find my resume, you can find out where I worked, you can find all kinds of things. So we asked ourselves.
And if you can't find it on his resume, just ask me.
So, you know, in consideration of that, and consideration of the incredible power that THERESA TAM exerted on all of us Canadians as a non-elected official, and as somebody whose salary we're paying, we asked, who is this person? So we went on a quest, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Well, not only that, who is this person and what did they do to you in the last 3 years? Locked you down, muzzled you up, prevented you from going to visit grandma, prevented you from going to funerals, any large venues. That's very contradictory to what she signed on to in 2006, because I hold here again the Canadian Pandemic Influenza Plan for the health sector. That's put out in 2006. THERESA TAM's name in the back of this, she's on almost every committee and every working group on here. So in this report, and we've talked about it before, they said masks would be ineffective. Social distancing would be ineffective. Shutting down venues would be ineffective. Segregating people would be ineffective. Yet from 2006, when they produced this plan, which has, what do we say, 9 or 14 pages of people, 9 pages of people on here that all signed on that were on this committee. And obviously it took a lot of money and a lot of time to put together. This thing got thrown out when she started telling us what to do in February or March of 2020.
Yep.
So what happened? And even back then, who was she? Ken, maybe it looks like you've done some digging around to see on her background a little bit what you could find. Could you tell us what you know about this person?
Well, it's not just us searching, but there was a lot of people on the internet searching for information on THERESA TAM. And what we have found out, but weren't able to corroborate on any official places, was she was born in Hong Kong in 1965 and received a medical degree from the University of Nottingham in England in 1989. We couldn't find any of the transcripts or any record of her being at Nottingham, the University of Nottingham. We went and looked, and so has several other people, but that's what we've been told. In 1996, she came to Canada and was at the University of Alberta, and she got a pediatric residency. She completed that in 1996. So she graduated a medical degree in 89 and graduated from the University of Alberta in 1996 with a pediatric residency. Pediatrics.
Yep.
Can we look in universities? Is it available to see like the graduating class
Yep.
pictures and all that stuff?
Yeah, you can look up mine.
Could look up.
And we couldn't find Theresa Tam.
Couldn't find her.
Couldn't find her. 1997, so in 1996, she graduated from the University of Alberta with a pediatric residency. And then in 1997, a year later, she got a fellowship in infectious diseases at the University of British Columbia, fellowship. And 2 years later, she got what's called an independent practice certificate. It doesn't say what it was in. So
an independent practice certificate.
Right.
Sounds made up.
I don't know what that is. Now, nowhere in here, nowhere in this that we've got, and we've got this off of the government website, does it say that Theresa Tam ever practiced medicine and treated patients. We don't know if she has or not. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying that we can't find any information on that. We also don't know how graduating with a pediatric residency in 1996 and doing just a fellowship in UBC a year later, that she became an infectious disease expert. Maybe that's possible in a year or two. And Chris mentioned that in 2006, she had authored or was one of the prime authors of the Canadian Pandemic Influenza Plan. And yet it was only in 1997 she did a fellowship in infectious diseases. How did she become an expert in infectious diseases in 7 years, 7 years? The document came out in 2006. It must have took a year to write.
Well, I don't know, but maybe it was her pediatric residency that qualified her to make that Christmas video, that commercial last Christmas about telling the little kids they better get vaccinated or Santa's not going to come see them.
But, I think, maybe you've only seen Theresa Tam on doing interviews on the television, and we think it's important that you get to know her a little bit better. So we're going to show you two videos right now, short videos. The first one's about 2 minutes long, a little less than 2 minutes. And what it is, it's from the National Film Board of Canada in 2010. They were doing a crisis management, or they were theorizing about what might happen in Canada if there was a smallpox outbreak. And you can hear Theresa Tam in her own words telling you about arrests, lockdowns, tracking you with ankle bracelets, arresting you, putting you in a concentration camp. You can hear her own words, her saying that.
Health authorities are taking no more chances of the smallpox spreading. Police are sent to padlock every business suspected of being contaminated with the disease.
I think the public has to know this is one of the worst case scenarios in terms of an infectious disease outbreak, in that their cooperation is sought. If there are people who are non-compliant, there are definitely laws and public health powers that can quarantine people in mandatory settings. It's potential you could track people, put bracelets on their arms, have police and other setups to ensure quarantine is undertaken. It is better to be preemptive and precautionary and take the heat of people thinking you might be overreactionary, get ahead of the curve, and then think about whether you've overreacted later. But it's such a serious situation that I think decisive early action is the key.
Police checkpoints are set up on all the bridges, and everyone leaving the city is required to show proof of vaccination. Those who refuse to cooperate are taken away to temporary detention centers.
Then the second video we're going to play is what Rosalie was talking about, was a very odd public service announcement she made at Christmas time about children getting vaccinated and dancing around and all
Bringing
kinds.
Santa into the equation.
Yeah.
If you want to, if you've been good, Santa will come see you if you get your vaccination.
So we're gonna let you watch those little videos, and then we're gonna come right back.
Well, kids, I'm just doing my yearly call to the North Pole for Santa's holiday health check.
Ho, 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 ho.
Why, hello, Dr. Tam.
Mrs. Claus, so good to see you again. Where did Santa go?
Oh, Santa was late for snow yoga with the elves and reindeer. He says it's great cross-training for sleigh driving.
Sounds fun. Are you all set for the holiday season?
Of course, I must say, Dr. Tam, it just warms my heart to see everyone in Canada, especially kids, working so hard to keep the holidays safe and cheerful for all.
So am I, Mrs. Claus. Every child in Canada has definitely earned a place on the nice list. Their parents and caregivers too. It's been a tough season with lots of viruses making people sick.
Thankfully, Santa and I are feeling as healthy as ever. We are both up to date with our vaccinations, including COVID boosters and flu shots.
That's so good to hear.
I always tell Santa to make a list and check it twice. 1, stay up to date on your vaccinations. 2, wear a mask in crowded indoor places and make sure it fits nice and snug. 3, wash your hands to the tune of jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Great advice. Great voice too. Also, you can be sure to stay at home if you're feeling sick. And if you're gathering indoors with other people or elves, open a door or a window for a few minutes at a time to let in some fresh air. The more items you check off the list, the more protected you are.
Yes, you can think of it like decorating a tree. You need tinsel, lights, ornaments, and the star on top. The tree is at its best when all the decorations are up and nicely layered.
Thanks, Mrs. Claus. Happy holidays, everyone.
So when did this person become the chief medical officer of the country?
June 2017.
So June 2017,
Mhm.
just before the pandemic.
A little bit of time to plan it before 220 hit.
And again, folks, we're not sure. We're not.
Sorry.
We're not throwing out dispersions here. We're asking questions because we haven't been able to find out anything about this.
Mhm.
And if you want to see whether or not we're being realistic or not, pick somebody who's not in government and go on the internet and see if you can find their biography.
And then go try find hers.
Now, we do know a few other things about THERESA Tam, and Rosalie's going to talk about her relationship with the WHO, the
Yeah.
World Health Organization.
Well, and again, that's sketchy as well. But I did find out that she is on the independent oversight and advisory committee for the WHO Health Emergencies Program. So I downloaded that, what they are made up of, the World Health Organization Oversight and Advisory, IOAC. There's, a little bit of information here. I'm not going to go into a lot of it right now because it's just too much to talk about. But I did find out that it was launched July 2016.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So, July 2016,
Yep. Is when not the WHO was launched, but this
the independent.
IOAC.
And she was appointed to
Advisory
that
committee.
in
Yeah,
2016?
she's one of 8 people. Yep. And this is to monitor the implementation of WHO's reform. The IOAC was established as an open-ended committee to provide accountability, scrutiny, and advice, et cetera, et cetera. We could probably let them know, give the link so that they can.
Yeah, I'll show a link to
Okay.
this document.
So the IOAC mission is an oversight and advisory body, as an oversight and advisory body, was primarily conceived as supportive to WHO to improve its performance and in emergencies.
When Rosalie says WHO, she means the WHO, the World Health Organization.
Right, I think they
Right.
kind of, I would be a little upset if I was the WHO because that was kind of hijacked. I think it was a little or the acronym was hijacked.
Which is part of the UN, by the way, United Nations.
Exactly. So gonna skip over a couple of things. They have, the IOAC has detailed access to the WHO data. That little phrase in and of itself. Detailed access to the WHO data. Okay, so she became a member of this committee a year before she became Canada's head.
Public health officer.
Right.
So
Uh,
was she elected to the who? Was
Uh,
there an election?
I don't think it was election. There's nothing
No,
in
you
here
get
that
appointed.
indicates it was a,
You
yeah.
get appointed.
Okay, and so what that tells me is that she knows the inner workings of the WHO, for sure. So, I mean, just telling you, okay, if you don't like what's going on with the WHO, if you're a little suspicious, she's in the bowels of what's going on in that organization, and she heads up what's going on in Canada. She wrote the rules for what was going on through this pandemic.
Mhm.
And she became a part of that organization a year before she did this.
Yep.
So how would she have been selected for that position?
To which, the one at WHO
For the
or Canada?
WHO,
I don't know what
a
the
year
election
before
process
she
is.
got,
And don't forget, she wrote this in 2006.
was part of the,
Yeah.
And that, by the way, that Canadian pandemic influenza plan, the seed for that came from the World Health Organization.
Oh,
And I mean, a big question for me is if you have two masters, the WHO and the UN, or Canada, the people of Canada, which master do you owe your allegiance to? Which master do you answer to?
Well, I don't think that she mastered us.
Well, that's a really good
Yeah.
point. And remember, folks, and I'm going to show you, just remind you of that clip we showed a minute or two ago, where she was talking about putting you in a concentration camp, putting a bracelet on you. And by the way, Chris, how many million Canadians did they monitor through their cell phone without those Canadians knowing?
33 million.
yeah, 33.
So I guess that means you didn't need to put the ankle clip on you. They just followed
Right.
you with your phone.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell us ahead of time they were doing that either, did
I
they?
forgot to mention that.
They didn't mention it.
Didn't send the notice
No,
out.
no, we didn't get the
So
memo.
So when she was talking about things that, frankly, when I listened to it, scared the you-know-what out of me, but then I thought about it in my head, they locked us down. That's what she said they were going to do. They arrested us, asked Arthur Pawlowski about that. They put us in concentration camps. They had you locked up in hotels. There's lots and lots of testimony from folks that couldn't get water, couldn't get food. I know people who got locked up on them and couldn't get water or food for 12 hours or 24 hours.
Right.
She said they were going to put tracking bracelets on you. Well, they tracked you on your phone. So once again, I asked the question. So my question is, you listen to her own words. We've read you what we know about her background. Having graduated not that long ago from the pediatric residency, and then having a certificate in something that we don't know what it was, and all of a sudden 4, 5, or 6 years later, a world-renowned expert in infectious diseases, working for the WHO at the same time she's working for you. How much of your money did you get back from the salary you were paying her for the work she was doing for the WHO, which it wasn't for you, by the way?
She wasn't doing that on weekends and after hours or anything. She would be.
Well, and this is
It's always an optimist.
Well, some people are busy. That's all.
and this is from the sketchy information we have.
Yeah.
We really don't have very much on her at all.
Now, here's an invitation. We're going to wrap this up right away, but here's an invitation. 2 invitations, sorry. First invitation is to any of you folks out there, whistleblowers, inside information. You know something about our beloved Chief Medical Health Officer?
If you went to school with her, we'd love to hear from
You
you.
went to school with her?
Yeah.
Grew up across the street.
You were a
Anything.
patient of her
Patient in her clinic.
in her clinic?
Yeah.
Let us know. Send it to us. We'll keep it confidential. You send it to us. And then I've got a second invitation to Dr. Tam. Come on our show.
Yeah.
Sit down with us. We're citizens. We're paying your salary.
Mhm.
We were affected by your edicts. You said, Dr. Tam, you said in your National Film Board debut that you should be reactionary in these situations. You should go over the line and apologize for it later, is what you said. So let's hear what you've got to say. We're inviting you on this show. We'll give you a fair,
We'll be well mannered and kind.
and
We're respectful.
we'll
people.
give you a fair chance to give your side of it, to tell us all about
Yeah.
your experience in pediatrics and how that switched into infectious disease expert.
Because we're all about free speech.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And we're Canadians.
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
we are Canadian.
We'd love to do. That's a great idea.
There you go. So
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time from Rosalie Drysdale.
and Ken Drysdale.
Chris Riddell.
I almost forgot my first name there. See you, everybody.
See you soon.